What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. This week we have a few things to discuss. Rumors of remakes, a few remakes that I'm telling you now it's not going to go well because most people don't want it. The first thing I saw was the whole thing about Space Jam. I guess they're trying to get LeBron James to do another version of Space Jam, the old classic with Michael Jordan in it. This was a movie that was all right. I thought it was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the greatest movie ever, but it wasn't bad for what it was. And I've always liked Warner Brothers. Looney Tunes. But anyways, LeBron James is a hack. He's a commie bastard. He serves China. In fact, all NBA does. They've literally proven that they'll bow down and do whatever China wants them to do. I can't stand LeBron James, never have liked the dude. He's kind of a douchebag. But yeah, this is gonna flop really bad. I can already tell, it's just another dumbass remake. I can't believe they went there. The next remake that I saw rumors about is The Exorcist. Oh my gosh. Really? Why do we need a remake of The Exorcist? That movie, is a serious cult classic. This isn't going to go well either. It's like the remake of Amityville they tried to do. That didn't go over well. So, The Exorcist, it's a classic movie. Do you remember the scene where her head spins around? That thing gave me nightmares for a long time when I saw it as a little kid. It freaked me out. For the longest time, I was afraid that there was going to be some kind of demon that would try to take my soul or something. When I first saw it, I was really little, like 5 or 6. I wasn't supposed to watch it. I ended up watching it. It freaked the shit out of me. Anyways, that one's gonna flop too. The next one that I saw, oh my gosh, I really couldn't believe they went there. They're doing a remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The classic with Steve Martin and John Candy. I'm sorry, but you cannot replace John Candy. I don't care who you put in that role. It's not going to happen. Come to find out, the rumor is it's supposed to be Will Smith and Kevin Hart. God, no. Please, no. I'm done. Listen, I am not a fan of Kevin Hart. I do not think the dude is funny. He's a little piece of shit. He's just not funny. Most of his jokes suck. Just not a big fan of Kevin Hart. I don't care for the dude. He flip-flops about everything all the time. One minute he's for this, and then the next minute he's not for it. And then, back and forth. He does that shit all the time. He's an idiot. I don't like him. But that's my opinion. You're more than welcome to disagree. I just don't care for him. Alright, that's it for the news. I saw the rumors. I thought y'all might want to hear about that crazy ass shit. Alright, movie holics, let's get on to your B-movie reviews. This week is Action Week. I chose a couple of war-type military action movies. At least they were, they said they were action. I'd heard about both of them before. I've never actually watched them, took the time to watch, because they're both like 3 hours and something long. And honestly, I wish I had that time back for both these movies. You'll see why. The first one, I had always heard, mixed reviews on it and stuff. It's called Alexander, and it's basically about Alexander the Great. It was done in 2004. It was made by Oliver Stone. Usually his stuff's fairly decent, but not so much this one. It made about 167 mil worldwide. Had quite a number of stars in it. It starred Colin Farrell as Alexander. Had Angelina Jolie as his mother. Anthony Hopkins was in this. He's the narrator at the beginning and at the end. And then you had Jared Leto in this as well, who pretty much played Colin Farrell's lover. Now, I would say you probably got about maybe 20 minutes worth of action in this movie. You have a fairly decent scene at the very beginning of the movie, watching two armies fight, and then, I'd say about 3/4 of the way into the movie, close to the end, you get one more fight scene, which wasn't all that much of a fight scene, where he's fighting in India. Basically, most of the movie was about, I don't know, it mainly was about Alexander and him being like a bisexual person. Most of it centered around Jared Leto and freaking Colin Farrell, like their gay relationship. It's literally what most of the movie was about. You had hardly any fight in it at all. And you got a little backstory, supposedly how things were when he was a kid, growing up. It bounced back and forth from the present to the past, kind of thing. But yeah, mainly the whole freaking movie for 2 hours and something was mainly about, his sexual relationship, mainly with Jared Leto. He had a couple other flings, he tried to get a wife and get her pregnant, which he did, but all the generals, after he died, ended up killing them off anyway. And he had some lover once he conquered the Persian Empire or whatever. Once he got into Babylon, he took on, a male suitor. So basically, it was really, to me, the movie was just very dry, very boring. I nearly fell asleep in it trying to watch this movie. The only reason I kept awake is because, the acting was decent. You had some decent actors in it. But yeah, this wasn't so much a story about Alexander and what he did or anything like that. It was more about a gay love story is basically what it was. Very boring. And I'm not saying that as, I have a problem with gay characters or anything in movies. It's just, this one was absolutely boring. It sucked. So yeah, I give this movie 2 thumbs down. I really didn't care for it. It said it was action. It wasn't action at all. Like I said, 1 or 2 scenes, very little action at all. Oh, I wasted 3 hours watching that daggone movie. The acting, I give the acting a solid 3 because you had some really great actors in this. The story for me gets a 1. It was terrible. The story was god awful. I don't need to know about the man's sexual exploits. I want to know about the things he did, the places he conquered. Show me some, action, that kind of crap. Not some stupid gay love story. Special effects, they get a solid 3. They were decent. They weren't too bad. I think they could have done a little bit better on some of the fighting, but it wasn't too bad. And like I said, thumbs up or thumbs down, 2 thumbs down. It was just, I don't recommend this movie if you're looking for a good action flick. It's just terrible. It's mainly a drama, gay love story. Some of you might be into that. Some of you may not be. I wasn't, so that's all for Alexander. I don't recommend it. It was a terrible movie. Terrible. The next one I'd heard a lot about. A lot. I'd never actually sat down and watched it. This a way older movie. It's called Lawrence of Arabia, and it was done in 1962. And it actually made 45 million worldwide, which is pretty good for back then. That's pretty damn good. I thought this was going to be an excellent movie. There's so much hype over this movie, They talked about it, how it's an amazing movie, blah, 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 blah. It starred Peter O'Toole in it, and it had Alec Guinness in it. You probably know him better as Obi-Wan Kenobi, the original Obi-Wan Kenobi. The story was basically about this guy named Lawrence, who was an English soldier. Who was sent to Arabia to be a consultant to this prince, who is Alec Guinness, or Alec Guinness's role. Anyways, he kind of turns around and starts helping the Arabians, fight the Turks, because that's who they were at war with. Most of Arabia was taken over by the Turks, so they were trying to help them push them out against Germany and stuff. So he kind of almost loses it when he's over there. So for Lawrence, things don't quite work out the way he was wanting them to. He's there to try to help the Arabs free themselves, come together, form a new government, and it just doesn't work out. He does a couple of things which helps him out. It even helps the English army with the Turks in the area. He helps them push back the Turks by becoming kind of like a guerrilla war fighter. It gets some men from the prince and helps him push back the Turks. Now they keep promoting him throughout the movie. He started off as a lieutenant and then became a major, and then finally at the end they made him a colonel. But by that time, towards the end of the movie, they didn't need him anymore. Neither the prince nor the English army. So they got rid of him, told him to go home. War's over for him. And that was pretty much the end of the movie. Nothing really got done as far as the Arabs and trying to establish a government. They just kind of turned on each other, started fighting again as tribes once they pushed out the Turks. So the prince, who's now a king, strikes a deal with the English that they share the cities and that kind of stuff. And that's, like I said, that's pretty much the end of the movie. There was a little bit of action in the movie. There wasn't a whole lot. You had a couple of scenes where I wouldn't really call it action. They run into a city shooting guns, and that's it. Then you have one action scene where some planes shot on some Arabs. That's it. Then you had one scene where they blew up a train and shot a few people on the train. Basically massacred them. And then you have one scene where they basically massacre a fleeing army of Turks who slaughtered a bunch of villages on the way. And that's it. And they only last for, maybe a minute or two, and it's not very long. The rest of it was all boring political crap. And it just seemed to go on and on and on and on. So, honestly, I really didn't care for this movie. I didn't understand the hype for this movie because it was really boring. It was interesting because, I'd never really heard the story about Lawrence. And I didn't know a whole lot. I'm kind of a historical buff, so I didn't know a whole lot about him and his time in, the Middle East. But other than that, I probably would have fell asleep through this movie too, because it wasn't really that great. The acting, of course, a solid 4 on the acting. You really have some great actors in this movie. That's what kept me awake through this whole movie. As far as, it's 1960. As far as special effects go, it was alright for what it was, so I definitely give it a solid 3. As far as the story goes, I don't know, I have to give it a 3. It wasn't really all that great, but it wasn't like horrible either. It was interesting. It just, it was just really slow. The movie was slow. It just didn't move along real well. As far, if you're into more historical drama, then this is probably the movie for you. It wasn't horrible, it just wasn't great. That great. Like I say, it was too slow for me. I give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down. I don't really recommend it for those who are looking for a good military action historical wise type of movie. It wasn't like that. It was more all drama. If you're into real hardcore historical dramas, then this is a movie for you. If you're looking for at least a bit of action in the movie, I'd say I would recommend it for you. So, that's my take on Lawrence of Arabia. It was okay. Overall, I give it a solid 3, you know, but I don't really recommend it for everyone. Not everyone's going to like this type of movie. Like I said, thumbs up, thumbs down. It was all right, but it was pretty slow. Okay, that's all I have for you this week. Anything I mentioned earlier in the video, tell me your thoughts on it. Leave it your thoughts in the comment section down below. As before, as always, if you have any type of movie gems I might have missed or maybe I've never heard of or seen, leave your suggestions down below in the comments, and I'll get around to reviewing them when I can. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week. I told you you've been told the truth, and you've just been told.